Hi, my name is John. I'm from Pembroke, right down the road, and I've grown up and lived in New Hampshire my whole life, and I'm raising my family there, my children, just like you, I have children, and so I know how important this election is. So my question is, in quick backstory, in 2012, my neighbor, who single mom with voting age daughters, was visited multiple times by the Obama campaign. My sister, voting age again, moved twice during the year of the election, and each time somehow the Obama campaign managed to find her and talk to her. Romney campaign, no visits. I have numerous friends this happened to. So my question is, what I want from you is a commitment. And this lady had a great question, and I wanted more detail on it. Is a commitment to a real, actual ground game that the Republicans used to be famous for, and we used to have, and that the Democrats have taken from us and are so good at, and we have not seen in 8 years.
Right.
We have not seen that, and so. I want a commitment from you on that, but I also want to know if you can tell me one or two details of how you feel in the Florida campaign where you ran against the establishment, what you felt like you did differently there that maybe you'll be using here, but a commitment that, again, we'll have that ground game that we need so desperately.
Sure. I mean, the traditional model for running a campaign was you get all these endorsements from as many people as possible, and there are really good endorsements, and then there are ones that, thank you very much, but get as many endorsements as you can get, raise as much money as you can, run as many TV commercials as you can get, and you win. And by the way, there are a lot of people running who think, if I can just raise a lot of money early, I'll clear the field. No one will run against me. And that's the way it used to be. And then things began to change. In 2009, we were a part of that. Because what we had to do, listen, I was running against the governor. I was a private citizen. I was not even in office. Nobody knew where I was. The first polls they took, I was below the margin of error. So the margin of error was 3%. I was at 2%. Nobody knew me. Okay, the only people that thought I could win all lived in my house. And 4 of them were under the age of 10. Everything I knew about politics said I was going to lose. I had no idea where I was going to raise the money. Nobody knew who I was. I had no organization to tap into. I had nothing. We had to start from scratch. And what I did basically is I just went out and I started anywhere they would invite me to speak, I would speak. And then slowly but surely we built a digital capability to connect with people. We quickly figured out that I can connect with a lot of people quickly using social media and digital device than I could by knocking on all of their doors. We tried to do both, but we really used that. Then we tried to use, and we're using it in this campaign, a lot of analytical tools, basically using the best practices that businesses use and applying them to the concept of attracting people and bringing them in. And that's how we had a chance to win. Now, what happened was we began to pick up momentum, and then you started raising money, and then you were also able to do the TV commercials and everything else. It's the same thing with this race. When I got into this race, I mean, one of my opponents was the former governor of Florida, not the same one that I beat. We had no establishment in Florida to tap into. No establishment nationally to tap into. My dad was a bartender. He wasn't politically connected. We had to start from scratch. We had to cobble in, and we would go anywhere they would invite us, build any way we could. But let me tell you, it makes your campaign stronger because the foundation that it's built on is a grassroots foundation. And it also puts you in touch with what people are feeling. And we've applied that into this campaign as well. I mean, I believe that the science we use in our campaign is as good as anybody in the field, including Hillary Clinton. But it's also about your message. Your message is important. Your message has to be something that reaches your sister and your neighbor. It has to be something that applies to what they're facing in their lives. And we haven't done that in a very long time, guys. I'm trying to be honest about it because I'm a Republican, and I'd rather be a Republican than a Democrat. It's the home of free enterprise. It's the home of limited government. It's the home of national security. But let's be clear here. There are Americans that haven't heard from us in a long time. And the Democrats took advantage of it. And they told them, Republicans don't care about people like you. Republicans, they only care about the people that are very rich. They don't care about the working class. That's what they tell them. And it's a lie. And we've let them get away with it for too long. And you know why I talk to people that are facing these struggles? Because that's my family. My family members live that way. I still live in a community like that. I was raised that way. I care about these issues not because the pollster told me to care about them, but because I've lived them, and I love people that are living them. And I lived in communities where I hear these stories when I go to the grocery store, when I drop my kids off at school. And it's not just about the tactics. Our tactics will be as good as their tactics. It's also about our message. We've got a job to do here, and that is to convince people that haven't voted for us before that limited government and free enterprise is better for them than the big government and the overspending that this administration has imposed. And we've got 7 years of record to prove that it's true. You have record numbers of people trapped in government assistance. We don't cure poverty in America. Our safety net program does not cure poverty. Does not cure poverty. It treats the pain of poverty, but it doesn't cure it. That's nuts. When I'm president, we're going to cure poverty. First of all, we're going to turn on to poverty programs to states, down to states and local communities, so they can design innovative ways to be able to attract it. And this is the only requirement. If you're receiving assistance, you either have to be working or going to school, so you can become self-dependent and never again rely on government. We're going to cure poverty. To those, I'll close with this. A long answer. It's an important question. I told the story yesterday. When I was the Speaker of the Florida House, my last 2 years in the legislature of the 8 years, my executive assistant was a single mother, abandoned by the father of her child. Okay, he'd never been around, never did anything. Very unfortunately, a very common story in America. And she struggled to provide for herself and her daughter. Obviously, she moved in with her mom. They shared costs, but it was hard. And she only made $27,000 or $28,000 because that's what the state paid. The only way she was ever going to get a raise is to go back to school and get a degree in something that paid more. And so she was able to find two things: a flexible boss, I was very happy to be helpful, and a flexible learning program that allowed her to take classes online, on nights, on weekends. Before I left the legislature, 1 year left in my term, she graduated as a paralegal. She no longer made $28,000 a year. She made over $50,000 a year. We need to be the party that makes it easier for people to do that again, so that they're not trapped the rest of their lives making little money like that. But we also have to be the party that makes America the best place in the world to create that job. Because you can have all the degrees you want. If the job isn't being created here, if they're creating it in another country because our taxes are too high, because our regulations are too crazy, because a health care law is telling employers don't hire people full-time, hire them part-time, then those jobs won't be there for them. So we've got a job to do. We've got to convince people, not just to reach them, but once we reach them, we've got to have a message that speaks to their challenges. When I'm president, we will. When I am the nominee of this party, the Democrats will be the party of yesterday, and we will be the party of tomorrow. They will be the party of all these people that hire lobbyists in Washington, and we will be the party of the people that clean hotel rooms and work in factories and are struggling to make ends meet, because what we stand for works. It's called free enterprise. It made us the most prosperous people in the history of the world, and it'll make us greater than we've ever been if we re-embrace it. So I'm going to wrap up the questions because I want to leave plenty of time on the back end to meet with you one-on-one and talk to you, answer any questions you have. I know Jason's going to stay as well. I want to thank all of you for being here. If you're already on our team, thank you. And I ask you to find more people to join us because we're getting real close here. If you're not on our team, I hope that I've convinced you. And if I haven't, if there's any questions you need answered, we've got on our website, marcorubio.com. We've got folks here from our campaign, or maybe in the next few minutes when I'm standing here, to answer your questions. We want you to help us. We need your help. We need your vote. And I hope that I can, and if you've already decided today to support us, we ask you to sign up on the way out just so we can stay in touch with you. We're not going to bombard you. Well, we are going to bombard you for like 3 more weeks. And then we're going to come back because we want to win the general election. I don't just want to win the New Hampshire primary. We want to win the general election here as well. And we're going to turn this country around together. Thank you very much.